All right, let's get right into it. Today we're tackling a question that's on a lot of creators' minds, the original Canon R6 versus the newer R6 Mark II. We're talking two absolute powerhouse cameras, but which one should you actually be spending your money on in 2025? Well, we're going to figure that out.
So maybe you're thinking about upgrading, or hey, maybe you're finally ready to jump into Canon's mirrorless world. This decision is about way more than just a spec sheet, right? It's about getting the absolute most bang for your buck, the most creative horsepower you can afford. So let's break down what really separates these two so you can make the right call for you.
What we've got here are basically two generations of the same awesome camera family. The original R6, man, that thing was a total game changer when it dropped back in 2020. Then, a couple of years later, the Mark II comes along and builds on that foundation. The real question is, right now, are those upgrades actually worth the extra cash?
So just to set the scene, the original R6 launched way back in July 2020. It's been around for a bit, and you know what that usually means. A pretty sweet deal. The R6 Mark II, that's the newer kid on the block from late 2022, packed with the latest tech. And that brings us to today, where these two cameras sit at a really interesting crossroads.
Okay, before we start splitting hairs and getting into the nitty-gritty differences, I want to make one thing super clear. You really can't go wrong here. There is no bad camera in this comparison. Seriously, both of them are built on this incredibly solid foundation, so let's start there. What do they both bring to the table?
And wow, just look at that shared DNA. It's impressive. No matter which one you pick, you're getting Canon's absolutely amazing in-body image stabilization. We're talking up to 8 stops. You get that super useful flip-out touchscreen, and that autofocus, it's just legendary. Face, eye, even vehicle tracking, it's all there. Plus, you get the pro stuff like 2 card slots and solid weather sealing, all packed into the exact same body. So that core shooting experience, it's phenomenal on both.
Okay, so if they're so similar, why would you even think about spending more for the Mark II? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's dive into the big upgrades that the Mark II offers. Right off the bat, the first huge upgrade is just pure, unadulterated speed. If you shoot anything that moves, and I mean anything, sports, wildlife, maybe even your kids who just refuse to stand still, this is where the Mark II has a massive leg up.
And check this out. The original R6 was already fast. 20 frames per second is nothing to sneeze at. But the Mark II comes along and just doubles it. A blistering 40 frames per second with the electronic shutter. That's insane. You're literally doubling your chances of nailing that one perfect split-second shot. It's a game changer for action.
Next up, something that might not sound as flashy, but trust me, it's a huge deal in the real world: battery life. The original R6 gets you around 360 shots on a charge. The Mark II, it bumps that all the way up to 580. We're talking over 200 more photos. That just means you can shoot for longer without constantly worrying about swapping batteries, which, on a long wedding day or a travel shoot, is just priceless.
So the speed is awesome. Better battery life is great, but honestly, the biggest, most important upgrades are all about video. This is where Canon really listened to what people were saying about the first R6 and delivered in a big way.
And this right here, this is probably the most crucial slide for a lot of you. Remember that super annoying 30-minute recording limit on the original R6? It was a total pain for interviews, events, anything long form. Well, the Mark II just gets rid of it. It just keeps on recording. On top of that, you can now output raw video for insane quality and color grading flexibility, and it gets rid of that little crop factor when you're shooting in 4K 60p. You get the full, beautiful view of your lens. These are massive wins for video shooters.
And the good stuff just keeps coming. You get a bump in resolution, up to 24 megapixels from 20. There's this super clever pre-shooting buffer that starts recording before you even press the shutter, so you never miss the shot. You get a dedicated switch to jump between photo and video, so much better than digging in menus. Plus, a new multi-function hot shoe for cool accessories. There are all these little things that just add up to a much smoother experience.
But hang on a second. After hearing all that, you're probably thinking, okay, the Mark II is a no-brainer, right? Well, not so fast. This is not a one-sided fight at all. There's one huge, very compelling reason why you might still want to go for the original R6.
And there it is, the big one, money. We're talking about a savings of around $300 if you go with the original R6. Think about what that is. That's a really nice prime lens. That's a good chunk of change you could put towards lighting. Or, a plane ticket to go shoot somewhere amazing. That is not insignificant.
You know, this quote really just hits the nail on the head. When you stop and think about all those major upgrades we just talked about for the Mark II, they are almost all for video. So if video isn't your main thing, if you're not a hybrid shooter, suddenly the original R6 starts to look like a much, much smarter buy. Yeah, let's not forget the original R6 is still an absolutely incredible camera for photos. Its performance is just superb. And here's a fun fact, it actually has more autofocus points than the Mark II. And since it has a lower resolution, its individual pixels are a tiny bit bigger, which could, theoretically, give you a little bit of an edge in super dark situations. And remember, you still get access to that same amazing lens lineup and all those core features we talked about at the beginning.
All right, so we've laid it all out. We've seen what makes the new Mark II so powerful, but we've also seen the incredible, lasting value of the original R6. So let's put it all together. It's decision time. This slide right here is basically the whole ballgame. Just look at these two columns and be honest about which one sounds more like you. If you're reading the list on the left and nodding your head like, yep, I'm a serious video shooter, or I absolutely need that insane speed for sports, then your decision is made. The R6 Mark II is the one. But if you look at the column on the right and think, you know what, I'm mostly a photographer, or I'd rather save that cash for a new lens, then the original R6 is an absolutely fantastic choice that will serve you incredibly well.
Look, at the end of the day, a camera is just a tool, right? We can talk about specs and charts all day long, but what really matters is what you do with it. The real question isn't which camera is better, it's which of these tools is going to help you tell your stories. You've seen what they can do. Now the real question is, what are you going to create?